At a House Oversight Committee hearing last week, Representative Pete Sessions spoke about abortion. The Texas Republican said that the hearing was, quote, designed to divide. Sessions spoke about the Supreme Court case overruling abortion and said, quote, it's important that we recognize that that's the law of the land. Representative Sessions then noted how personal this issue is to him. The Texas Republican spoke about his son, who has Down syndrome. He called his son a, quote, inspiration. Sessions said having a child is, quote, not like shopping at a grocery store. He closed his remarks by asking for people to not use, quote, hyperbole, but instead discuss it, quote, carefully and thoughtfully.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions, is now recognized.
Madam Chairman, thank you very much. Madam Chairman, today's activities are designed to divide Congress, to divide the American people, and not to bring us together. Today, our country is going through a tremendous storm that is happening across our south and east coast. And I know that we need to be at a time where we're thoughtful about so many Americans that are facing difficulty. I'd like to talk about this issue in a different way. I know that it's been pitched as a battleground, a battle of choice versus the rights of people. I know it's being pitched as a nationwide ban that Republicans want. Well, in fact, the Supreme Court ruled that it's not a constitutional issue, it's a states' rights issue. And whether I agree with it or not, I think it's important that we recognize that's the law of the land. I have a little bit different take on this. Perhaps might be informational to some that are listening, perhaps not. I have a Down syndrome son who is 28 years old. And Alex is a young man, Alexander Sessions. Alex is a young man who faced some difficulties early in his life with medical issues. Otherwise, he was a normal baby boy who was born. But Alex turned into the kind of person who has made a lot of his life. Alex has a big brother who is also a medical doctor, who is also an Eagle Scout, who is also a young man. Both of them, the way they were raised, they get up and they enjoy the day. They see a mission in front of them. And while Alex, as a Down syndrome man, has what might be called an intellectual disability, he has been able, through the grace of what I will say, God, because God helped create Alex. And Alex has been nothing but a positive person to thousands of people who have known him. He is an inspiration, not just with his life, but the way he greets people. He was a regular visitor here in Congress, would come to the floor. He made friends. Alex is a person and a young man who had a desire to make something of himself, and others have fully accepted that. And so if I can give a story to those who might consider perhaps their ideas about what a Down syndrome person might be in their life, I'd like to say it's a positive, thoughtful experience. And Alex at his church or his Sunday school or his scout troop, or he works at Home Depot now. And he works at Home Depot because Home Depot recognizes that people who might not have all the necessary, if I would use the term, abilities, they still have lots of abilities, and they're an asset to their business model. They're an asset whether he's pushing carts to clean a parking lot or whether he's in just greeting people, that it's a tender side of life. And we were chosen for this. We did not, when we necessarily conceived Alex, we did not have to sit back and say, what do we want? This is not like shopping at a grocery store or going online to Amazon. It is something that you are participatory with. I do recognize not everybody agrees with this issue. I do recognize that it can be a very difficult circumstance. But what I would say is let's not beat up this issue with what I believe is hyperbole to just beat the issue up and talk about nationwide ban of what Republicans want to do, and they want to take away all these rights and obligations. Well, it is an issue that is going to be solved on a state-by-state basis. It will not be, in my opinion, decided in the near term because we have a president who's been duly elected who would not sign that legislation. So it will be at its appropriate time. If it's going to be a national issue, it will be available to the voters in 2 years. So I'd really like for us, if we could, between maybe now and then, to talk about this issue in a way that is balanced. And that is, the Supreme Court has made a decision, and the country will deal with that as they have made many other difficult decisions, some that I agree with, some that I disagree with. But it's the law of the land. And I thank each of you for being here today, and would tell my fellow colleagues that I think that this issue should be one that we deal with very carefully and thoughtfully, because we're dealing with the essence of life. Thank you.